just one question in English, please. Mr. Putin said the last year in the same place here, when he had been asked about Syria, he said, I mean, it's not about Mr. Assad. And this family, I'm quote, ruled Syria for 40 years. But until now, we have the same question. Are you still backing Assad? Because also what's happening in Geneva now, it's around this question. So,
no, we're not backing Mr. Assad. We're not backing any personality in Syria or in any other country. We are friends not with the Assad family. We are not friends with anybody in particular in Syria. As a state, we are friends with the Syrian people. And the Russian people, we are friends with the Syrian people. And we are deeply concerned with what is happening to this country, the country which is a cradle of Christianity in the Middle East and Northern Africa, and which is being ruined day by day by terrorists, by extremists who do not know any religion, who do not have any affiliation with any belief, with any faith, who burn monasteries, who burn mosques, who blow up children, women, elderly, who do not know any rules, do not know any rules of human behavior. What we say, basically, is that before concentrating on the easiest and the simplest, sometimes, you know, simplicity is worse than a theft, as we in Russia say. People say, Assad must go, then everything would fall into pieces. We watched Yugoslavia when everyone was concentrating on the fate of Milosevic. We watched Iraq when the same was done about the fate of Saddam Hussein, then Libya and Gaddafi. And if you take a look at what happened after the regimes were toppled, I don't think you wouldn't be able to make a conclusion that life became better. So what we want to avoid at any cost is another obsession with the regime change because of somebody's personal animosity, personal hatred to a particular individual. It is not the way the adult people should run policy. The right way, if we all want to help the Syrians, if we all agree that there must be a conference to implement Geneva Communique, I invite all those who say Assad is the key. Read carefully the Geneva Communique, which was signed up by all P5 members, by the Arab League, by Turkey, by the United Nations, and try to concentrate on what is in there. What is in there is end of violence, humanitarian issues, consensus, mutual consent between the government and the opposition to be really, truly representative, consensus between the regime and the opposition, about how they want to run free, democratic, tolerant, safe and secure Syria, free from terrorism and extremism. This is what it is about. They must agree on the basics of their state, how they want to reform their state. And only after this consensus is built, it would be possible, I believe, for them to discuss personalities. Imagine Assad disappears tomorrow. What happens to the country? Who is going to keep it together? There is no answer. And the expansion of terrorists in Syria is really threatening. It is not by accident that the G8 in June last year, in the declaration of the summit, on the initiative of David Cameron as the Prime Minister of the host country, called upon in the final document, called upon the government and the opposition to unite, to join forces, and to expel terrorists from Syria or to exterminate them in Syria. This is one of the key tasks, and I felt the growing understanding on the part of our European partners when we discussed this situation, the Syrian situation, the situation in the region, during the negotiations today.